a burning Joplin home. Joplin schools create a plan to get all students back in the classroom at the same time, and how COVID survivors are using the opera to control their breathing.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A death investigation is underway in Joplin after firefighters discover a deceased male inside a burning home. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, Joplin police are called in to investigate after a house fire in the northeast part of town. It happened Tuesday evening. That's when firefighters responded to this house fire at 223 South Galena Avenue. When they entered the home, the firefighters found a man already dead inside. The JPD is investigating. No word yet on whether investigators suspect foul play. Police say they plan to release the victim's name once next of kin is notified. Well, we're in for another gorgeous day today. Michael Hayslip joins us with the first look at the forecast.
Back to back, and we deserve it coming off of that 2-week cold front that we had. Now, I'll tell you what, radar being a little bit finicky. You see just a little green being picked up every now and then. We didn't even pick up any early morning rain, so we got fortunate about that. Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. Bye-bye, snow. So much for that hill we all wanted to sled down, huh? 54 degrees is where we stand right now. I'm going to tell you the big difference between today and yesterday are the wind arrows. Now coming in from the north, and what we saw earlier was about a 25-degree gap in our temperatures. Now we've come much closer, 48 in Iowa, 59 in Anderson, so now we're about down to an 11-degree gap. But once again, the reason is we've got a cold front that's actually moved through. I know that sounds crazy to say, but it is a cold front, and we're going to see the wind switch once again overnight, but still get down around the freezing mark. And now our temperatures for the rest of the week going to be rather moderate, rather February-like. Not that that's a bad thing, because we don't have to worry about anything getting below the freezing mark. Now, as we work into Friday, we do see some rain down in the southeastern portion of the central part of Arkansas. KOAM now, there we go. And for our 7-day forecast, that's why we put that 20% chance in, just in case that decides to move a little bit to the north. But even if it does, it's not going to be widespread. A beautiful Saturday, 60, mostly sunny and mild. Now, Sunday is going to be our best chance for some more widespread rain, but not looking at anything severe, even though we're getting into that season. You know, we're getting closer to March. And then, Tanya, we'll tackle that next week. Yeah, I know. I'm just
let's not worry about that yet. Let's enjoy the warmth right now.
Right. Now we'll worry about that when we get closer to it.
Sounds like a plan. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, topping Nation Watch, the FDA releases its analysis of Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine. The one-shot vaccine appears safe and effective in trials, pushing it closer to authorization for use. J&J studies show the vaccine 66% effective in offering protection and 85% effective against severe disease. This afternoon, President Biden is set to sign an executive order directing a review of supply chains for computer chips, large capacity batteries, pharmaceuticals, and minerals. It comes amid the vaccine-related shortages seen during the pandemic. Well, if you are a Missouri resident, age 65 or older, or have pre-qualifying conditions, there's no need to wait to get your COVID-19 vaccine. McDonald County received enough for 2,000 shots and still has extra doses available. No appointment is needed. Just show up at the ballpark off of Industrial Drive in Anderson, Missouri before 4:30 this afternoon. Joplin School Board meets to come up with a plan to return to full in-person classes at the high school. KOAM's Chris Warner joined last night's meeting and has the details.
The Joplin School Board discussed the proposal to get students back to class before unanimously voting to approve it Tuesday night. JHS Principal Dr. Stephen Gilbert developed the plan to get students back.
We feel like things have turned around and vaccines out and our numbers are down and you know it's time to get kids back.
At the start of the school year, Dr. Gilbert is the one who pushed for the AB schedule the high school has been utilizing before school started. Now, we spoke with one parent who has 2 freshmen at JHS, and she isn't convinced it's safe enough for kids to return to class.
Yes, I understand the COVID numbers are down right now, but that's also because of a lot of the precautions that we've been taking, masks and social distancing. I don't see how it's going to be possible to do that in with that many kids.
JHS junior Grace Goebel has similar concerns.
COVID-19 wise, if we're looking to slow or stop the spread, I think it's really dangerous to go back to adding 2,400 students in the same building.
JHS senior Connor Winters has a different take on the situation.
I think at this point it's safer than it has been, but I still think they should wait until next year because we don't have very much longer to go.
Dr. Gilbert says he feels the plan to return is solid and the school is ready to welcome students back over the next few weeks.
I believe if we can keep them safe, that I feel like that school is important enough that kids need to be here.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
You can find the full plan in this story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, how opera training techniques are helping COVID survivors learn to breathe again. And later, we're making an all-in-one sausage dinner in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Opera has been largely silenced, like most of the performing arts, but the English National Opera is using its downtime to fight COVID-19. Elizabeth Palmer met a vocal coach helping breathe new hope into patients with long-term side effects from the virus.
For Sheba, not so long ago, a simple stroll in the sun was unimaginable.
I couldn't even go from my bed to the kitchen without having to sit down and catch my breath.
Sheba beat COVID this winter, but never got her breath back.
I felt that I needed more air in my lungs. I felt as if I was drowning at times.
COVID patients, even those who don't end up on ventilators, can be left with so-called long COVID, chronically short of breath. Enter the English National Opera with a prescription.
So some really simple things that we do are around physicalizing airflow. So if you breathe in and breathe out.
Operatic singing coach Susie Zumpa is helping long COVID patients breathe again. And it starts with posture.
Because it's really difficult to breathe well if you're physically collapsed, and people who've been ill are often a bit crunched. And just place it on your neck very gently.
Susie uncrunches them in an online Zoom course that uses musical exercises to teach relaxation and breath control. Sheba was one of the very first to sign up.
And I'm so glad I did, because it's pulled me out of darkness. It was literally a breath of fresh air for me.
You can think of it as physiotherapy for the lungs.
Your turn. Amazing. I'm loving the eyebrow action that goes with it. It's really good.
Here's the English National Opera on stage pre-pandemic. The exercises that gave the singers their power were adapted by doctors for long COVID patients.
It's an unlikely fit, opera and COVID. It's an odd predicament, actually, that at a time where we're unable to sing, the very craft of singing is something that has been useful and beneficial and had value to people at this time.
Online, the class learns lullabies. Susie may be the only one unmuted, but everybody benefits.
And I have to ask, how are you now? Are you better?
I'm much better, and I don't think it would have been possible if I didn't have this fantastic tool to guide me through this dark time.
Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, London.
Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If you knew something was really good, you'd probably tell your friends. So with us being friends, that's exactly what I'm doing today.
You know it, we're friends, Howard. But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Contiguous 48 looking relatively quiet on this Wednesday afternoon as we have not a whole lot of action going on. As Tanya just stares me down on the backside of the computer, afraid that I'm going to take up too much time because our weather has been so delightful. And yeah, I won't talk about it because while we won't get to the record of 80, and that's a little bit deceiving for the high today of 60, that was right when the clock turned midnight, we actually dropped back down into the mid 50s after that, right where our average should be at 53 degrees. I want to give a special shout out to the engineers here at KOAM TV, as now that the thaw is over, we've got no snow left on the ground, and they've got our sky cam back working outside the mothership. So there's a live shot outside our satellite arrays from KOAM Television City. And once again, they do yeoman's work to make sure that we get through each and every day, and I wanted to point them out in particular. Our high temperatures, okay, so remember, if you go back to last Monday and then Tuesday, that was our minus 15 that we had. Ever since then, yeah, below freezing. We did below freezing for 13 consecutive days before we were finally able to get above that on Saturday, and then nice little cruise right there. And the interesting thing is when you factor in that 73 that we had yesterday and the 60 that we had today, our February average high, 33.5, I know that sounds extremely cold for an average high, but you have to remember, as of yesterday, that number was 31.5. So we were able to bump up 2 degrees, thanks in part to just 2 days. And we're not talking about a small average right there. We're in the latter third of the month. As far as our temperatures go right now, big difference is the fact that the wind moves in from the north. We're still sitting close to 60 degrees there. Miami and Anderson, my good friend Mike down in Goodman. Mike, appreciate you checking in and letting me know what you got down there. And then we're a little bit cooler up to the north, where it's 48 in Iola, and then a pair of 50s in Fort Scott and Nevada. From the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin, do want to pay attention to the humidity right there, as we're going to drop down to about 35 to 25% later on this afternoon. Once again, hate to be the bearer of bad news. I know you probably got some limbs down from the freezing and whatnot. Not a good day to burn them. Let's just hold on, let that humidity increase a little bit, because on top of the lowered humidity, we also have wind gusts ranging from 25 miles per hour in Independence, 20 in Joplin, and 19 in Nevada. So conditions going to be ripe for anything to take off real quick. All the rain we keep up to the far northwest. Our Skywatch Storm Tracker clear as a bell. You can see the definitive line there with the color contour of these temperatures as they recede to the north. So it's going to be very seasonable here to close out the month. Sunshine for the rest of the day, and overnight, this is kind of a key factor because we do gain a little cloud cover. Now what that's going to do is help us keep some of that warmth that we've had for the past couple of days in the ground. So we'll go about 32 degrees, not too bad at all. Future track, let's talk about that. As far as Wednesday and Thursday, clear as can be. What we will look at is Friday. We're going to see a little bit formulate, but it's down here to our deep southeast. Thing being, one change in Gulf moisture, if that thing decides to pick up right here, we could see a little bit of rain along and south of I-44. Right now, we're going to say we're going to keep it on the dry side. But for the most part, it looks like it's just going to go toward the eastern side of the Mississippi. 7-day forecast for us. Not too bad. Look at this Saturday that we have in store. We're talking about temperatures up into the 60s, partly sunny skies, chance for a little more widespread rain on Sunday, and then really to roll out Monday and Tuesday, cold front moving through. So yeah, there's a chance that it reemerges, but we'll tackle that later.
All right, that's good.
I don't want to worry about that now.
I know. I'm loving the fact that we've got great highs, decent lows. Thursday might be a little chilly at night, but
overnight low is a key factor.
Yeah.
We're staying right there at the freezing point. We'll take it.
Yeah, I like it. Keep doing it. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Staff Sergeant Leslie LaRue in the U.S. Air Force. Parsons, Kansas native, was stationed in Vietnam from 1969 to 1970. To Sergeant Leslie Allen LaRue, we thank you, our four-state hero. Today we're making a 30-minute skillet meal that your family is sure to love. Howard shows us how to make his all-in-one sausage dinner in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
One thing that we take very seriously here in the Test Kitchen is the comments and reviews that you share with us. So thank you, and keep them coming. When we see a recipe that has reviews like, "This recipe's a winner," and "It's fantastic," we take pride in that. and want to make sure as many of you get to try that recipe as possible. To make a recent crowd favorite, we start by browning a pound or so of Italian sausage, along with some chopped onion and green pepper. As for the sausage, that can be as mild or as spicy as you like. Once that's doing its thing, we combine a can of diced tomatoes with some sour cream, a good amount of water, a little sugar, and to give it some oomph, some chili powder and a bit of salt. Now we add this to our cooked sausage along with some thin, uncooked egg noodles. Adding these uncooked is a real time saver. Now we give it a stir, cover it, and let it simmer until the noodles are tender. Once they are, bring the whole pan right to the table, dish up a salad, and dinner is done. Let me tell you, this will be perfect on those busy weeknights when you're stumped as to what to serve. The recipe for our all-in-one sausage dinner is waiting for you on our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a tasty, stress-free way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Looks good. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4 state market prices.
Already pushing up close to 60 degrees. It's going to be absolutely delightful today. And then tomorrow, cloud cover kind of gets in our way, but so be it. And as we push into the weekend, 50s and 60s on the board. Now, coming up tonight at 5, a new round of crash tests shows cars are safer than ever. We've got record vehicles earning top safety numbers from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. We're going to take a look at which vehicles top that list.
Plus, McDonald County Health Department is vaccinating over 2,000 people this week. We speak with emergency management on organizing a massive clinic. And the Joplin School District votes to get high school students back in the classroom full time. Some parents and students have concerns.
On the KOAM News at 5, I want to thank you all for joining Tanya and I for the KOAM News at noon. Of course, we'll see you again tomorrow morning.
The rest of the team will see you right back here at 5 o'clock.